Hello again, friends, and welcome to another fine edition of 151. My name is Adam, and I am joined by a man whose phaser is always set to sexy.
Engage.
Ladies and gentlemen, his name is Justin.
Thank you very much.
We are 151. We're presented by Skeleton Vineyards. It's wine with backbone. You can go over to the Facebook channel, and it is at Skeleton Vineyards. Got everything in there, right? Right. Okay,
Right.
Cool. Skeleton. Go check it out.
Wine with backbone.
Wine with backbone. As for us, we are 151. You can find us on Facebook, Tumblr, and Twitter, all at 151 The Show. Plus, we are on Podbean, iTunes, and YouTube, where we hope that you subscribe to our show and follow us and do all that and pay attention. Cool?
We have important things to say.
Yes, we do. Very. As it is the month of October, we are getting into the creepy side of things again. If you paid attention to the last show, we had Seth from CCPI on to talk about. We talked more about Bigfoot than anything.
Yeah, which is
kind
cool.
Which is kind of funny. But joining us on the show today is a guy that has been on the show a couple times. He's a friend of ours, and he brought somebody with us. God.
Yep. Had to. Can't get away from this guy sometimes.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Eric Kline from Paranormal Endeavors is joining us, and he brought Jerrett.
Hello.
Osburn. Get up on that mic a little bit more, Jerrett.
Yeah, there we go.
A little bit. Keep going. One more time.
Hello.
Okay.
There we go.
Perfect.
Good enough. Yeah, you got to kiss. You know radio.
I know.
You should know. I know you have the stick mic of all of us, but come on, dude.
It's been a long time since I've been on radio.
Really?
Yeah. Well, since 2009.
It's been a while for me, too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Me too.
that full house audience.
Oh. But no, as we make our way through the month of October, we wanted to have some of this. We did the haunted show or the Halloween special, I should call it, with Paranormal Endeavors, and
the chief.
And the chief.
Yep.
Justin could not make his way to this.
I think I had a wedding to go to that weekend.
Yeah.
But I think the chief is probably the only guy that I would voluntarily turn my seat over to.
Yeah, he really gets into that stuff, and just you know what, that might be the best place to start. Paranormal Endeavors was cool enough to allow us to come and do take some footage, do some interviews and stuff. I busted Jerrett's balls for about 4 hours.
Oh yeah.
And we had some, and Eric and I messed up a high five / knuckle bump. We didn't know what we wanted to do at the very end.
Very white guy. Just, it was like, But in defense, it was like, what time was it? I don't know.
I don't know. It was probably close to 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But no. Let's go back to that. We always talked about that. We wanted to go back and talk about the Twilight Tea Room after we investigated. After you guys, allowed us to go, and things just never lined up to where we were able to do it. Between their schedule with doing the Diviner, which we will get to in a little bit, my schedule, getting fired and all that, plus...
Well, they gave you lots of free time. That's not an excuse.
Yeah, exactly. No, the new job and all that. But, things didn't line up and we never got to talk about it. So let's go back to that real quick. Twilight Tea Room, and I will be upfront and honest, when you guys first told me the story and then I listened to you guys do the meeting about it beforehand, and you can see this on the Halloween special on YouTube.
And our episode too shows some of it.
Yeah. The way it sounded, I thought it was a lady looking to get famous and just to get business to her tea room. That's the way it sounded.
Absolutely.
Fair enough.
And going into it from a skeptical mind, that's something we have to think about as investigators. We have to go into it sometimes where sometimes people have these effects and these things going on, and it is strictly their own place.
But the way it kind of sounded, though, just so Justin knows what's going on, the Twilight Tea Room is in what town?
Williamson, Iowa.
That's it.
Yep.
It's an old high school or middle school type thing that they bought. They're converting it into essentially a tea room for old ladies to go hang out at. Except it's haunted. or at least that's what they claimed. And when you guys were doing the meeting, it was like, is this lady, like, is it legitimately haunted? Is this stuff happening, like Jerrett just said? Or is it, hey, we're trying to get business to come to small town Williams, Iowa? Williamson or Williams? Williamson.
Yep.
To get people in. And I don't know what you guys thought of it, but truth be told, we left really happy with that place.
Absolutely. And it was really neat to, well, for one, as skeptical as you were going into it, like you said, busting my balls for 4 hours. We had a little blast about me just sharing that information, not trying to push it down your throat. You know, we had a lot of fun joking around. We're used to that. We have a lot of the same friends, so it's nothing new.
Yeah.
But and then for things to start developing like they had, how your father started coming out with what was going on with him, and it matching up, and then for India to show up,
that was weird.
With no history, she missed the intro, missed the meetings, missed everything. And then she started spouting out the whole story that we all were told all night long. Yeah. And she didn't know it.
Yeah, that was weird. I will say this, and we'll get to what you thought was the weirdest thing, but the robot voice.
Yes.
The EVP that we caught on my equipment, at least, and I gave that to, I sent that to you guys. I don't know what you did with it or whatever, but it was like a robot voice on there. It was weird. And in working with sound and stuff for as long as I have, I've never heard that before, nor since, which it'll probably be in this video.
Yeah, we got EVPs that sound like tin cans. It sounds like something like one of those old, what I used to learn math and ABCs on back in like early 90s.
Speaking spells.
Yeah, pretty much. Turn them on, and they go, 1, 2, 3, and they talk really kind of weird like that. That's kind of what it was.
And I've had them to where they sound like they're talking through water.
Oh, yeah.
Just type stuff like that. And that was me. That was not a EVP on.
You sure?
On the pod, yeah.
I make those kind of noises when I've had too much to drink.
My stomach makes a pretty good noise too.
I know, right? But no, I mean, we didn't stay for the entire night. You guys stayed later on. We did the first half of the investigation with you. We did some interviews. You can still see it on YouTube. But no, I got to say, we had a really good time at that place. It's one of the few places that I've gone to and things have actually happened. Yeah. And happened consistently. Like I can't remember the name of it now.
SB7?
No, the meter my dad had.
Oh, the K2?
K2, there it is. Him getting a constant hit at a place that he shouldn't be getting it. Right. Out in the middle of a field. And it was just weird enough to make you be like, hey, that was fun.
Well, and then the moment that you were kind of mocking the SB7, and then it literally right after it says it works.
Yeah. Telling you
what you mocked something.
Right? I know, right?
Well, he was having doubts where he's like, I just really don't believe this is effective. It's too random. And I think that was your exact words. I'm not sure if it works. It's just too random. And it comes back and goes, it works.
And the SB7 is.
Yeah, it's that device that goes through radio frequencies. And we use AM settings, but it goes through microseconds. So it's beep, 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 go through. So when there's full sentences or words, it's like, wait a minute. And pertaining to what's going on, like remember when I first turned it on, what did it say?
Eric.
Yeah. So it was like
every time he turns on the damn thing, it says his name.
Yeah, it says Eric
many times.
It's either that or it's become self-aware and it's.
I, for one, welcome our new robot overlords.
I know, right? I plan to be as big a part of that as possible.
And I've got a new box from
really?
David Coltrider.
I like when I get a new box.
Amazing man. It filters out what you were hearing to where you no longer hear the static and the clicks and all the bleed throughs. And so now it's just the words coming through, and that's it.
Okay.
So it's a direct communication, and you're actually having dialogue now.
Gotcha.
Oh, there you go.
Yep. Don't worry, I used to have to do it with Justin. He's a natural talent, though.
Let it go.
Stop. The natural.
Stop.
That's how I should introduce you every time.
The natural.
And I'm joined by a man who is the natural. Kind of like the sound of it, don't you?
I do. I
there
really
you go.
do.
With his shirt off, that'd be more accompanying. The natural. Bring in more viewers or scare them away. I don't know.
Bring him in.
I could go.
That's
all,
a lot of sexy right
I
there.
could go all natural, you know.
You gotta get the
151.
Yeah.
After dark.
But anyways, just to kind of finish up with the Twilight Team Room, I had a good time there. I know my dad did. You guys seem to have a good time. That's part of one of your DVD series, correct?
Yeah. So within Chapter 5, I actually just gave one recently a copy of that to Tina, the owner of that. So I haven't heard.
And she
anything
seemed
back
down
yet.
to earth. I mean,
Yeah.
she seemed all right. I
Yeah,
mean,
she's an amazing lady.
it seemed like she was more like she just kind of wanted to know.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You know, it really wasn't one of those, oh, I'm hoping this is haunted or whatever. It's
Right.
just, we've had some weird stuff happen here.
Yeah.
Just curious what's going on.
And she seemed kind of skeptical and inquisitive. Of course, she wanted to know,
And
you know,
hot
like
for
how her
Jerrett.
equipment works. No comment.
I missed that night.
No, it's kind of cool because she drove this big truck, which is very, unassuming. India loved that.
Yeah.
Because she idolized that. She's like a woman with a big truck. She just loves that kind of thing. And I guess she drives a combine too, so it's just like more
Nice.
power to her.
And where can they find this if they want to check it out?
Yep. So you can visit our Facebook page, which is just Paranormal Endeavors, and reach out to us if you want a copy. We also have our website, just www.paranormalendeavors.com. It's a recent release, released in May, just before the Paracon thing that we went to. And so we'll have a few of those. And again, funds go to try to get us some more equipment and stuff like that.
We know how that works.
Yes, we do.
Yes. Yes. So
We'd like to thank Skeleton Wines.
Again, they are wine with backbone. No, they're good people over there.
Yes.
Saints, every single one of them.
Yeah,
Not haunted
absolutely.
at all.
Absolutely. That sponsorship made sure we get enough microphones so we can get us all in here today. So
There you go. That's the only reason you're here, Jerrett.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
We had enough mics. If not,
Thank wine.
exactly.
you just got to remember how to use the mic.
I know.
he'll get there. He'll get there.
Pretend you love it.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
There you go.
Get your mouth all over it.
Yeah, I know. So that was about a year ago that we did that Halloween show. It was put out in October, but we recorded it. I want to say in September, but we had to go through and edit it all.
This isn't going out live?
What?
What?
No,
It's a lie.
It is all a lie. It really is. What have you guys been up to since then? I know the movie's been going on, The Diviner.
Yep. So, of course, we finished the rest of Chapter 5, which there's only, I think, 2 more cases that followed that one that you guys were on. And then it ended with a very spectacular and scary case that we went to. It was in Des Moines, and that's the one that we decided to cut off Chapter 5, start anew with Chapter 6. It was
so bad it ended a chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow,
much.
really? What can you? I know you guys do a lot of private home stuff, but what can you tell us about this one?
So, in a summary of it, the family had something following them for a long time, many years actually. They came up from Mexico, even down there, they had something malicious with them. Came up here to Des Moines, and it was still there. And when we went there, instantly within walking up to the house, our people got affected by something very negative there. Jerrett started puking. Mary, definitely, she got the brunt of it that night, but it came in waves. Her first impact was she just got overwhelmed, and she got scared to be in the house.
Really?
That doesn't happen.
First attack started within 12 minutes of being inside the house. Within 45 minutes, I was physically puking. We were all getting beaten amongst our ribs, literally feeling like somebody was hitting us with sharp objects, just clubbing us.
Now, not to cut you off, but like when you go into a situation like that, when there is something going on, I mean, is there, maybe the better part of valor just getting the hell out of there, or is it just?
Yeah, that's what we have with Eric's title, Protocol 3, in which he will say the security of my team is higher than the situation, and we get a hold of people that are
that we know and work with,
Yeah.
network outside of what we feel confident enough, because even our skill sets, we know that we're not going to be able to tackle everything that's out there. So we work with people and we network with them, and we'll still kind of work with the clients, but from the sidelines, and have someone who maybe works with this kind of dark stuff more so on a day-to-day, and have them come in if needed.
in that case. I was confident enough in my team of handling Mary, handling what was going on. I'd had enough experience in my private practice before ever joining Endeavors that I kind of knew what I was doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
While
I-
handling yourself, so the
Yeah.
puking stuff didn't drive
Right.
you to run off.
Right. So that way I can control how it's affecting me. Not letting anger take over. Not letting any of that stuff get into your head, because that's some of the keys that they were working at when we were talking about
And
tattoos.
feed off of it.
And he said if he showed him my key, I have that to remind me.
I
It's-
don't get it.
Well, there are keys in the psyche that they will use against you in order to turn you
unlock.
for oppressions into possession.
Okay.
These are the weaknesses and the baggages that you have in your life. Depression, or thinking that you're not worthy enough, or you're not spending enough time with your kids and you're a lousy father. These things that you go into your life that will affect your ego and your self-worth, they twist these and use them in order to create fear, anger, and worthlessness within yourself.
Like a bully.
So they eventually beat you down enough to where they have complete control over you, and then take control of your body and your mind.
So, if this was a family that had moved up from I think Mexico,
Yeah,
right?
from Mexico.
To Des Moines.
500-year family land.
So, is this then tied when you guys got to the location where they're at, or in physical proximity to the family members themselves? I mean, is it more situational, or I'm going to make a really I guess
Just go, man.
interesting reference here, but this makes me think of the theory that we've talked about before on the movie theories, that Harry Potter was a Horcrux,
Right.
and that affected is
And
it
you're on to that
is
bit,
it somebody is it somebody in the family that's being followed then, because it's obviously not location based.
And that's what we were talking about with attachments, things like that. They go to a specific family member or a specific person in there. They will affect other people in the households as victims.
So you just kick that one person out. No big deal, right?
No,
Right.
because the moral thing
Sorry,
is they
Aunt Karen.
still gotta-
never
they-
liked you
They
anyway.
still got to live their lives. And even when we help them, there's no guarantee that they're not going to want it back subconsciously. It's like heroin. It gets addicted to that negative draw. When we're talking about the people out there that are able to handle these things, this case and a couple later that I did, since we're talking about what happened in the last year, brought me out to what's called the Dominion Ministries, LLC. They're ministers from all faiths, all walks of life, from Catholic to shamans to Muslim to Wicca it's just priests from everywhere. And they're all working together on these dark, heavy cases that teams cannot handle.
Really?
And they, we have them in just about every state. There's a few states we're still having to fill in yet.
Is there a website or something for them?
Yes,
Or
the Dominion Ministry LLC on Facebook is their website.
okay.
And you can get a hold of them there. We've got people in many, many states. We've helped people overseas. So we've been able to deal with a lot of different areas and helping with the violent hauntings and the aftercare.
So it's like a faith-based SWAT team, essentially.
Basically. And it's from an omnist point of view, in which they realize their faith isn't always the Gatling gun. Sometimes you have to reach out to another faith in order to fix a problem.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
Yeah, I just had you bring up something interesting where it's like, okay, if that faith isn't the Gatling gun, it has no effect on it, then I don't want to say which faith is real, but it brings up some interesting points about how, different faiths have different, essentially spooks and whatnot.
yeah. And that's where the omnist point of view comes in. Omnist is looking at all faiths and finding the simple truth and the common ground in each and every single one of them. And through that, you find the simple truth and the path to follow.
And how many crossovers there would be. And right? I mean,
right. Because there's been cases more at the local level that we've had where they've had, the church in and clergy in, and they would do the holy water and whatnot, but they would still have stuff going on there. And then we would go in with a different approach, kind of feel it out and see if maybe, okay, so the smudging and Native American approach might work here better. Or I go in with Reiki and do the healing energies kind of thing. And those are just some examples, but sometimes those affect it better and cause a better outcome for the family. So then why is this? And it's like, well, when you think about it, do some of these people believe the words that they're saying when they do that? And I question that sometimes.
Well, and then on the demonology aspect, there's things out there that do not respect religion, period. Mm-hmm. Crucifixes do not work on them. Holy water doesn't work on them. Sacrament doesn't work on them. Sacred earth does not work on them. Only some of the older world necromancer basis does, such as certain herbs or like iron or things like that only work against some of these archies. So even in the Catholic Church, they recognize some of the pagan beliefs as the only way in order to fight some of the higher level stuff. So regardless of how faith-based you are, there's still this blend of other faiths in order to get the job done.
Okay.
And you might want to mention a little bit about that, because you use your example of being necromancer. You might want to talk a little bit about what that is.
What a necromancer is...
I was thinking a couple different things.
Yeah.
Mostly Harry Dresden type stuff.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, media, movies, books, things like that have twisted what the idea of necromancer is. Necromancer, basically anybody that's a psychic medium that talks and converses with the dead, they are a form of necromancer. We are operating in the world of the dead. Okay, we are communicating with them to get knowledge. The necromancers way back in the centuries before, they would be employed by the church in order to get history from the dead, in order to verify what it was like to what the written word was. They realized man was fallible, and a lot of times it was written by people in power that wanted their own version. So they would hire these people to converse in these mausoleums and these, tombs and stuff like that with, influential people, and getting their versions of history and write them out on tomes overnight, just thousands of pages, and then comparing to the written history. So necromancy through the ages has been used for a lot of really good things. During the Dark Ages, the church turned on them and realized that they were going to overwrite a lot of things, that, such as the versions of the Bible, things along those lines, and they were deemed evil. And many were assassinated, basically.
Yeah.
Tortured. And throughout the last, I say 50 years now, at least the necromancer word has been able to come out a little better without such a negative content tone. Some of the heavier Orthodox, they don't like it, but they still will call out to them for help and stuff. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and come out of that broom closet.
Right, exactly. Yeah. The broom closet.
Yeah, because popular media, if you break up the term necromancer, you're talking about commanding an army of the undead or raising zombies.
I can't even begin to tell you how many people I've used that term with, and then said, "You have sex with the dead?" No,
that's something completely different and completely awesome. But
what? That's it. I'm out.
Crack open a stiff one.
Can't remember the day I used the term defenstration in a conversation one day. The guy thought it was a weird sexual fetish as well. So it means throw somebody out of a window.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's your vocabulary word for the day.
And now you know.
And knowing is half the battle.
We are 151, presented by Skeleton Vineyards. It's Wine with Backbone. They're also on Facebook at Skeleton Vineyards. We're here with the guys from Paranormal Endeavors, catching up and talking about some of the recent cases. And Jerrett's just bringing the conversation down, going real deep and dark.
So what are the chances? Considering
I'm
our,
sorry.
No, it's all
I
good.
love you.
Absolutely.
considering our sponsor, what are the odds of getting somebody to resurrect a skeleton for some dancing purposes at Halloween?
about as good as me getting another girlfriend.
Oh,
So it's pretty low.
oh, can we all? Wow. Can we just all?
Jesus, guys.
No, I got to crack on myself. No, resurrections. No. That's movies. But
Even that bird skeleton, you weren't
Yeah.
gonna resurrect it, but it was more of a.
it's more of for the
trophy.
altar.
Yeah.
It's understanding the dead and respecting it. Now resurrecting spirit. Now that's a different story. And in necromancer, you can bring a spirit back to inhabit a body for a night of reminiscence of the dead. There's some stories of that in the past too.
Interesting.
So
Is it essentially like a possession type thing?
it is.
A
It's
willing possession? Okay.
It's a willing.
Yeah.
So
Kind of
yeah.
mediumship, sort of,
Yep.
but using themselves as a vessel.
Let me ask you this, because it always comes up, when you're, Ouija board or, a psychic talking about, oh, well, your Uncle Jerry's coming along. How do you know it's Uncle Jerry? You know what I'm saying? I
Well-
mean, at what point do you go,
How do you know it's not something wearing Uncle Jerry is a skin?
exactly?
Right. And that happens more than
More
not.
often than not, yep.
And that's why we caution people on using Ouija boards, spirit boards, witch boards, whatever you want to call them. And that's just because it's a tool. Using the right hands, it can be okay. Just
Yeah.
no different than like a firearm, it's okay. It's
Even
the
a,
intention
even a
behind it.
hammer can be used for murder.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Right.
Well, there's people out there
But-
that, like, a real big guy that's against him is George Honori, who does Coast to Coast AM. He hates Ouija boards.
Oh, yeah.
He will not get near them. He will not have anything to do with them. But it is an interesting question. I mean, if, it seems like some more of this stuff is coming around and stuff. And,
Yeah.
And
Well, it's sort of you're a symbol of your willingness to open yourself up as a conduit. I mean, when you
It's-
fling open the door, who knows what's going to come in?
Exactly.
It's how it works in the first place. You literally are moving the board with your hands. Okay? You're not just following along. It is subconscious, sublingual information going through your body in semi-possession form to where the board moves.
it's a semi.
It's not a full possession. It is a semi to where they're using your muscles in order to
He
get
knows where I'm
I
going.
know what you're getting at. Well done. Touche.
Generally most receptive between 6 and midnight.
There you go.
Oh, look what popped up. I'm sorry. Okay, so
But
What-
yeah, on that, I was just going to say that definitely be cautious. Even myself, and years of experience of this, I always stand back from trusting that, this is exactly 100% with all certainty in the world, Uncle Jim or Aunt Betty or whoever, because it could be someone riding along trying to take advantage and being like, it's my time, my 15 minutes, if you want to call it that.
And,
Okay.
and the more negative nasties, they don't come to you as a pretty puppy, or they don't come to you as being the big nasty. They come to you as something cute and nice and helpful.
Little
Like a
girl
Justin.
Cynthia,
You
etc.
know, little children or small animals or something cute that you're like, oh.
That's me.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's no, you actually, before I made the joke, I thought, is that kind of the black-eyed children thing? Does that kind of
can
get
be,
into?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
because they come to your door. You're not supposed to invite them in, but they try to get in, and then from there you kind of open yourself up to not so good stuff with them. But you look them in there, and they just have that
What?
darkness.
I don't know what the black-eyed children
There's
are.
this.
I thought you were going to say the black-eyed peas for a minute.
No,
which
no.
I wouldn't
There's-
invite them in.
There's
Will
this,
I am.
There's if you look it up online, you'll find a million different stories about it. But it's essentially kids with straight black eyes.
Okay.
No pupil, no iris,
Okay.
no nothing, just black eyes, and they come at really weird times at the middle of the night. And they knock on your door and they ask to be let in, and for whatever reason, people get this automatic sense of dread, right, because of these black-eyed children, and it just something is wrong there, and no one
Right.
can really figure out what it is.
And you have to watch out for the black eyes because in the legends, the black eyes are the low-level, what they call low-level meat bags. They're low-level demons that are trying to find their place, and they can only exist if they inhabit a body. during this case that we were discussing, Mary went through what she went through. We have her on film. Her eyes are solid black.
Weird.
So
Which DVD is that on?
that's on chapter
That's the
5.
finale, chapter
Is it?
5.
Finale.
Yep, that same place.
Yeah.
Basically, it's believed to be, when we were there, kind of going back to that case, it's like, what, like the movie Grudge and The Ring and all them are about. That's kind of like the Asian version of this. The long-haired, nasty
Yeah, they've
woman
got some
that's kind of
weird
evil.
stuff over there.
Mm-hmm. And this
We
one's
find the
Venezuelan.
story in many, many countries.
Yeah.
Okay.
Many countries. So
And it's Venezuelan, and she's just evil. And we call it. It didn't even feel like a true gender there, but she was there, fighting us all. But we ended up getting rid of her, and you binded her.
I bound her so that way she could not. If I banished her, she would inflict somebody else. So I bound her into a form, using blessed wax with carved runes and special herbs and oils in the process. It was a very, very tough battle that beat the hell out of my body that night. I walked out of that house with both my shoulders had been displaced. My hips had been displaced.
Blood in your stool.
I bled in my urine and my stool for 3 days. I had 2 cracked ribs and 6 bruised.
Mary
and
still goes through spiritual PTSD
Yeah.
still to this day.
It's been 9 months now.
Yeah.
And she's still affected to it mentally with what goes on to it. So these are some of the hazards that can happen. It's a 1% thing that happens out there. Something I don't know is going on in this world, though, where these things are starting to get a little more on the rise with investigations. Even some of the more popular places that have years of recorded history are now all of a sudden telling us their ghosts are angry and acting up.
Could it be in... This might sound kind of like a dumb but very simple answer. Is it because more people are looking? Is it more people are going in,
I think there's...
making people dance, and it's making people... I mean, because if you get on the web right now and type in ghost hunt or something, 8 million videos are going to come up.
Right.
I mean, this video might come up for
Yeah.
somebody,
And I think it's a mix, though, of, there's a lot more people going. It's been as popular as ever now than even when I first started. And people going out there, they're provoking.
Yeah.
it's
They're
the
seeing what's in the
negative
movies
energies.
because a cultural thing there. So seeing what's in the movie. Oh, I'm going to go do this. This is awesome. Go out there, start screaming, calling it names. And then they get aggressive. And, well, the spirits or the whoever's there gets aggressive with them. Well, why not? And then the lack of experience might, see one movie and then they think, oh, I know everything there is about this field. No.
But you never know everything.
Exactly.
About it.
Exactly.
I can't tell you how many times I've dealt with a grumpy human entity that somebody else without experience
They
would
call
have
it a
thought-
demon.
Yeah.
They call it a demon or whatever else, and it's just a really grumpy, angry entity. Just all it is. We all have our emotional problems. We all have the things we hate in our bad days. We've got ex-wives or wives that we're currently married to that we've got to tread lightly with. Well, spirits are no
She'll
different.
never watch this anyway.
Except now you got to take it into consideration that you're in a position where you can't really talk to people.
Yeah.
You're going to get even more grumpy when you're secluded going through this. And so a lot of what I do is spirit counseling.
I'd totally
That's
go to you for a
again.
counsel. Be like, Jerrett.
Now,
tell me
is
what's my
that a
problems.
50-minute hour or is that a whole 60-minute hour?
I'm telling you, I'm starting to bill by the week. Yeah.
That would suck. Dude, come on, I'm trying to poop.
Oh, I've got a good one on that one. Trying to pee, and what are you doing? I'm peeing. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Echoing through the hall of the house. That'll spook you.
Yeah, no
You
kidding.
stop midstream.
Right? That's no fun.
I've done a prayer of protection on the toilet before. It's people laugh. It's like it's needed some places.
So real quick, because I want to get into what you guys have coming up here, The Diviner, your movie.
Yep.
The reason why we couldn't get together anytime because I'm gonna make a movie.
I was busy.
I'm gonna make a
Literally
movie. I'm gonna make a
every
movie.
weekend we were doing a shoot. We would do
Oh, yeah.
1 to 2 scenes on this thing
And
because
it's
we had
done,
a tight
right?
schedule. Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's
Yeah.
done. It's running the kind of the film festival circuit right now but we actually have in the works to get it at a theater in Nevada.
Oh, cool.
To kind of start playing it now for people because only like the main cast have only seen it.
Mhm.
Everyone else is like, when can we see it? When can we see it? So I've been lock and key for the time
Oh,
being.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
so
you guys are both in it.
Kind
correct?
of headed me off there, asking when we could see it, didn't he?
I know. I've been wanting you to talk more today, but because you're the natural,
Right. Exactly.
and he just took it from.
just
out
a
I
pretty.
know,
He's a
I
pretty
know.
face. It's all right. You just can sit there.
I won't argue with that.
But yeah, no, it's inspired by true events, basically. It's a movie I've been wanting to do since probably 2011 or just
Okay.
before that. But it's just hard to get amateur cast, and I call them that because not professional actors, etc., not part of the SAG or anything like that. But getting everyone's schedule together and everything's just impossible.
Oh, really? Kind of know about that.
Yeah. There's a lot of that going on. But so actually the timing fit. We made it work. Ridiculous schedule because we had started in early October of last year, got done. I think it was it January, February was the last scene.
Yeah. February, you had to do a scene that you forgot.
Yeah, I mean,
God.
I had to go back.
Reshoots, change the whole tone.
Yeah.
Trying to remember where everything was placed.
Right,
and all
right.
That fun stuff.
Because we had to keep the same hair and everything. He couldn't touch his beard for a while. I think it was driving him
It
nuts.
was driving me crazy. Everybody was complaining.
get-
I
did
want to
continuity.
sculpt your beard.
Did you get Joss Whedon for the reshoots, or
No, I wish.
Take a pile of dump into something awesome. Is
Right.
what the, sorry,
That's
Justice League.
Oh,
A knife.
Okay, yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
That should be
Yeah.
awesome.
right?
Yeah, just like Star Trek Discovery.
Exactly.
Best show ever.
Just let them do their thing for a second. Get out of there.
Nerd,
Right.
nerd, geek,
Right.
geek.
Right.
Yep. High five! Ah!
Well, speaking of nerds and geek of the 90s, I couldn't get my eye off of Goldeneye over there for a second.
Yeah?
Kept distracting me.
Yeah, over on the.
Fun times.
That's
Oh,
the
yeah.
nostalgia shelf.
Oh, that's awesome. Look at that thing. Brings back so many memories.
Oh, yeah.
You can play
Mine still works,
play
too.
anybody you want except Odd Job.
Yeah. Yeah.
License to kill.
Mm-hmm.
Grenade launchers. Let's do this. Actually, that blue bag over on top of the old kitty litter box,
Oh, yeah.
that's my Nintendo 64 right
Does it
there.
still work and
There you go.
everything?
Yeah.
Sweet. Just like mine.
So you guys aren't leaving after this, are you now?
I'm gonna play a little. But yeah, no. So the Diviner, it was inspired by true events. Basically, a young sensitive who notices he's different. He's seeing a lot of stuff, so you have a little bit of that sixth sense stuff going on, and he just doesn't know how to handle it. He's kind of different, anyways, an outsider. He's in college at the time and doesn't have very many friends. But the one close friend that's with him, she's kind of a goofball. But her Jessica
Yep.
played her character's Rachel. Actually kind of got him into a little bit of the adventures. Took him to the Black Angel of Iowa City, which is a real thing that
Yeah.
exists. Took him there, and he kind of had some experiences there, but he kept it from her because he didn't know exactly how she would handle it yet. And then when he met his mentor, Robin, played by Jerrett,
Yeah.
that's when things really started opening up, and he started understanding what was going on.
It's
and-
essentially Doctor Strange. That's what's going
Yeah.
on here.
Yeah. Well, he was a very strange man. How he
Absolutely.
approached my character was, we were just heading out of this church. There's actually a historical church that's in Bentonsport, Iowa.
Burned to the ground.
And and so in this church, he was walking out. Once we were we were walking out, but he was just standing there, and
Yep.
he was just like,
Leaning
"So you've
against the
seen
wall."
her too?" And we're like, "What?" So that introduces his strange character. He's just a man you'd never see him actually leave in a car. He just appears.
You don't know how he gets to the places or where he disappears to. He has no vehicles. He just kind of walks away and goes.
We were gonna do a parody of like a broom laying down in a parking lot or something like that, but
Be awesome if it was skateboarding.
yeah.
There you go.
Just a wicked skateboarder.
Right.
So his
Bring
character,
Tony on.
or you just see a Segway in the background, just kind of
Yeah,
trundling
there you
along.
go.
That'd be funny.
Rocket pack. How cool would
That's
that
hilarious.
Right?
So yeah, she was dead. And you fly off.
be? That guy was the most wicked ghost hunter ever.
But yeah, so he learns quite a bit through Robin, and then
This
the
is how you pull out
end
the
is
spine.
very, very pretty intense. No, that's all right. So in the end, I don't want to give it away, but it's pretty intense. Definitely, because it's inspired by events that happened to me. So it actually goes back to places that I learned in real life. So because Eastern Iowa was a big part of my early years in this, because I went, University of Iowa.
Yeah.
So
Go Hawks.
yeah.
Then he picked up stories from different people that were in the film and things that they went through and incorporated a bunch of it in. So it's this hodgepodge of real life events.
Yeah.
You guys will when it'll be out and all that.
When
will
can
be
we
on.
see it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
There, Justin,
Yeah.
go.
When can we see it?
This year, actually, I'm trying to time it for a Halloween. That would be
So
kind of
here
nice.
pretty soon,
Yeah.
since we're recording in October.
This is
not.
going out live.
Yes, it's not live. It's not even close to being
It's
live.
Memorex.
This is the day that worked for everybody. That's what it is.
Definitely a fall thing because we shot it last fall.
Okay.
And hopefully do some screenings at some venues, and then people can get some copies and stuff of it. I think that would
Cool.
be great.
But that will all be up on Facebook and stuff.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Cool.
we're gonna do a big.
So
thing.
pay attention to the Paranormal Endeavors Facebook page for when you can see the Diviner.
Mhm.
That sound good?
Yeah.
What else you got?
Uh,
That's great.
So,
That's
yeah,
perfect.
That is yes. I hate you. So I guess I've always been curious of where do we
Yes!
hate you. Where do we draw the line? I mean, when we start going down through the pantheon of just like the necromancer as media representation as to reality, where do you guys have your own personal lines in the sand that this is real, this is real, this is real, this is fanciful invention, what trips your bull button, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Ooh. Well, for me, there's some cases I'll have where just they have nothing but like horror movies and everything in their catalog. They always watch something ghost related right before bed, and then they're saying, "Oh, this is happening. It's just out of this world stuff."
But I mean, even more general than that. I mean, vampires, werewolves, UFOs, aliens. Where's your line in the sand, I guess, so to speak? Because as you start down that rabbit hole, it's very easy. Okay, well, if we accept this, then we have to accept that, and it kind of spirals from there. So,
I'm very open to a lot of that stuff. We haven't had too many like alien abduction type cases, or someone who's seen Sasquatch in their backyard or anything like that. But those ones, I guess I'd be even more skeptical about until we get there. I still have an open mind, though, that sure, why not? But
You bring up Bigfoot, and in the last show we talked about it with Seth a little bit, but there are a lot of Bigfoot sightings in Iowa, and I never would think that Iowa would be a hotbed for squatchy activity.
Exactly.
Right around
Exactly.
Sandyville.
Where?
Right around Sandyville.
Where's Sandyville?
Just outside of...
Old Dying Town, just south of, well, it's east of
Which part of the state?
Indianola
and
and south of Des Moines.
Yeah. There's a some sort of creature out there that is somewhat of a
Somebody just made a
Sasquatch
movie,
or
didn't
a
it?
werewolf
Didn't
type
they?
Reminds me of
based.
the Van Meter creature.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Okay.
So it's more of a dog-headed squatch is what it looks like.
A dog squatch.
Yeah, and it's not the only place. There are quite a few states that have had the same reports of this dog-headed squatch.
Jesus, I don't know what happened.
get it
there.
out there.
I know, right? That was bad.
God, you used to be a professional.
I used to be. I'm out of practice, man. Will Paranormal Endeavors do like a Sasquatch stuff or UFO or hey, I've got something weird in my backyard. It's not.
We're everything.
Paranormal
Okay.
is all encompassing. We just don't get many people stepping up to have us do that kind of a case.
Okay.
We would almost have to go and solicit or seek advertisement more for that, which
Be
we
on a
normally
weird
don't
podcast.
do.
And
Yeah.
then even on that,
Plug.
dealing with the Dominion, I've come
Yep.
across a couple of different groups out there that specifically work with the alien abductions, the alien encounters. So, I mean, they have hundreds of cases under their belt.
And
So
they-
even
well,
though I've never experienced it
I
myself,
think
I'm
more
like, wait a
Southwest
minute.
anyway for that stuff, but I mean, they happen all over.
Yeah. Well, truth be told, when we were getting ready to set up October, we wanted to do ghost stuff, but we've had a couple requests to do a UFO show, to do, aliens, UFOs, that whole thing. And I contacted MUFON, the Iowa branch of it, got a response back, and then from there I replied back, never wrote back. So. It's good to know that there are other places, because you don't hear about, the people that do, the Bigfoot stuff as much, or the UFO stuff, or, just that general weird, that I can't explain. It may not be, a boo scary ghost or, something like that, but there's something going on here.
Right. And we were talking about that. It's like, because we've had one case that we got close to, because every night this potential client that never happened, but they'd seen a UFO over their house, like, I don't know, it was like a certain time, it was almost like a residual UFO, if there's such a thing, but coming over their house at a certain time at night, all the time, and you actually sit back in their yard and wait for it. And then other weird things that were going on there too, because we've known cases where paranormal is directly linked to some UFO activity, directly linked to the Men in Black. And then all that kind of stuff seems to kind of go together.
Men in Black here in Iowa?
Oh, yeah.
Where?
They can be anywhere. There's different reports.
Yeah, because there's talk about Men in Black. Hey, you wanted your conspiracy show. This may be it right now.
Right.
Well, we were talking about all this weird stuff out there. The Mandela effect we were talking about a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is just weird.
It's Berenstain, damn it.
Yeah.
The Mandela in the Bible gets even weirder.
Yeah, I started listening to a podcast about that, but down the road we will jump into this. But the Men in Black stuff is kind of interesting because is it aliens? Is it actual government?
people?
Is it
Right.
this? Is it that? And no one really knows.
Yeah, because it's just so. To me, it reminds me of how, like, for example, a true demonic will try to mimic a human form, but there's something about it that's still not quite right.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to manifest and they're missing an arm, or their face is still deformed. It's like, Grandma didn't look like that,
Missing the eyes, or missing
Why
the
does
jaw.
Grandma have fangs?
Yeah, exactly.
I've always thought there was something off about Will Smith.
Yeah.
There you go, Tommy Lee Jones. But yeah, no, and then the Men in Black, it's been reported just in general, not firsthand cases that we've had yet, but that same kind of thing. They talk weird way, or they talk and their mouths aren't moving.
Where it's
Or
not quite right.
Right.
Or they get that glitch where they repeat themselves.
Uh-huh.
Top of the morning to you.
Yeah,
Type
just
stuff.
very weird.
Just weird little glitches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we actually kind of did a scene that may be released, but we kind of
Bingo.
put it in the archive for now as being in the Diviner franchise if we ever did a sequel.
Uh-huh.
Of basically a client in the movie that has encounter of the fourth kind, and the Men in Black do show up in that one. So we kind of did that where there's like no reflection of them in the mirror, but they're in the door.
Okay.
That kind of stuff. It's weird.
Yeah, we did an unshameless plug
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago to stay away from a UFO video.
Yes.
So we've
That
been
was
UFO seems to be on the mind lately of everybody. So
I read this semi sort of off topic. I read an interesting thing the other day that it had to do with vampires and reflections. That mirrors used to be coated in silver to get the reflection, which is why the vampires could never be seen. But modern mirrors
Are not.
And
That's why
not.
they can use them.
And nowadays they can, which I thought was and it was presented from a fiction standpoint, but I'm like, that's a lot of thought into it. That's really interesting to think about.
Oh yeah. That's some of the stuff that some of us geeks have thrown around from time to time.
Yeah. Well, and the incorporation of mirrors, we kind of go a little bit into at the beginning of chapter 6, which we're shooting right now, actually. But the first case of it was at daycare, and we had a investigator that used the mirror basically see spirit reflections in it, which we hadn't really had before on the team.
Right.
So she was seeing stuff in the mirror all the time because that's kind of how her gifts worked. where she could see
I
it in
hate
there.
mirrors at night.
Oh yeah, I won't have one on my bed, like anywhere around my bed where I can see myself
We have
in it.
2.
Oh, you do?
We have one right at the head of our bed, and then one just like right on the wall, and I always just stare at it. I'm waiting for.
I've got one in my car for my haunted museum.
Really?
Oh yeah.
You still have it in there?
I still have it in
I-
there. I haven't taken it out of my car yet.
I've just got the one on the
That
ceiling,
music
and that
box was
thing is
in my
great.
car for 3 months.
Oh jeez.
So
I think they missed
You're
that
good
one.
to it.
yeah, it's kind of like that. It's my safe space to see what happens. I
There
don't
you
drive
go.
it
You have a
very
prop.
often.
I mean, if you want to see the mirror, whether on or off air, but
Can we put it on the ceiling?
No, it's one of those stand-up oval spinning ones.
Oh.
And they couldn't stare at it anymore. They actually had to take it out of the house and keep it in the garage.
I hate mirrors.
Interesting.
yeah.
So, all right, guys.
Through
Well,
the windows to the soul.
Yeah.
No, those are eyes. Never mind.
Yeah. Yeah. The window to the soul is the chest. You just have to pry it apart
Exactly.
or something.
Quickest way to a man's heart is through his rib cage.
Or his stomach.
Yeah.
Or groin.
Fair enough.
There we go. It's full circle.
All right. On that note, we are 151 presented by Skeleton Vineyards. It is wine with backbone. Eric, Jerrett, we appreciate you guys coming in. We wish you nothing but the best. We appreciate it. And
Thank you.
hopefully you had fun today.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yes, always
Thanks
a blast.
for having us too. Yeah.
If you want to find out more about anything they do, Paranormal Endeavors, their Facebook page, we'll have links to it in the information parts of the show. If you want to find us on social media, we are on Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr, all at 151 The Show, and you can subscribe to our Podbean, YouTube, and iTunes channel. We can't end without a shameless plug.
Cue the music!
Shameless plug time here on 151, presented by Skeleton Vineyards. Justin has it. This is basically where we just plug something that we're into, whether it's a website, a TV show, a movie, a song, or whatever it is. It's just we shamelessly plug it. So
Something that we would recommend. And this week is going to be a book series.
okay,
We've done some book shows in the past. This is, I think, the one series of Brandon Sanderson books that you don't read.
I haven't read it.
The Stormlight Archives. This is one of his epic high fantasy, sort of in the realm of Wheel of Time and some of the stuff that he finished up there. But third book will be out in November. It's a planet set in, if you're familiar with Brandon Sanderson, his Cosmere.
do you guys know anything about Brandon Sanderson?
I don't know.
He's an author. He's got all these different books, and they're all within the same universe, but all the different stories happen on different planets, and they killed God at one point.
17 beings came together and killed the ultimate being, and each took a portion of his power. So they work as standalones, or if you read the whole interconnected Cosmere, then it all sort of works together as well. So
I read the one series, had no idea it was a part of a bigger picture. Not a clue. And it worked.
yep. And then I'm like, oh, okay, now that you're done with that, go read that because it's
Yeah.
connected.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yes.
Yeah, it's Mistborn. That's a really good series.
Okay.
You should read it. You guys
I haven't
probably
read
like
but
it.
I think I've heard.
Yeah, I think
Jared's
anybody
just
would like it.
rolling his he's like, nerds.
The hell is this reading stuff?
Anyways,
But it's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Probably my favorite high fantasy series I think that I've ever tied into. It's really captivating. So
awesome. Coming out in November.
coming out November, third book. So
When's he gonna do more with Mistborn?
this one's out. Then I think he's going to finish up the Wax and Wane. Then he's going to go back. Then he's going to write the third trilogy for Mistborn. Because there's
I need something
the
new to read.
past, the middle, and the future.
Yeah, which is
So-
supposed to be a space opera.
Yeah, kind of like a Deathstalker space opera sort of deal. And then he'll tie into the second because the Stormlight Archive is going to be 10 books, 5 for the initial run, 5 as a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to plan it in somewhere in there. I don't know. He's got books planned out for like 25 years or something like that. So
Sounds good.
it should be a good read, and for you, it's going to be great because there's book 2 alone was over 1,000 pages. So I mean, you've got some. I think it was at the time it was the largest book that Tor had ever published.
What's it called again? Series.
Stormlight Archives.
Okay, cool.
It's I can't. I know the Oathbringer is the third one. I can't think of. It's Words of Radiance is the second one. I can't think of the first one off the top of my head.
Okay. All right, that's going to do it for us. That's your shameless plug. Again, we thank Paranormal Endeavors for hanging out with us.
Thanks for coming by, guys.
Yeah,
Hopefully it won't
no
be a year
problem.
next
Thank you.
time.
Absolutely. Thanks,
Yeah.
guys.
All right, that's going to do it for us. We'll see you next time.